Hello, this is the 108th edition of Catch of the Day, available on the Branch Talk YouTube channel. Today we're going to continue reading from Doug Mitchell's book, When the Siege Has Ended, EZ5, The Judgment for the Living. Starting at the top of page 4, there is only one problem with that premise. That is, when Ellen White saw the 144,000 in vision, she saw that on their foreheads was written, God, New Jerusalem, and a glorious star containing Jesus' new name. Early Writings 15. So the idea that there were two seals is not completely accurate, for the two seals he spoke of are actually only two parts of the complete seal that the 144,000 are to receive. Both of those two parts of the complete seal are just what he said they are. But even then, there is more to them than what had been revealed through the time of his ministry. Just as Ellen White said that the time will come when we will proclaim the Sabbath, the first part of the seal, more fully. So we will also proclaim the truth of the 144,000, the second part of the seal, more fully, as the scroll unrolls. Since there are, or were, only two parts of the complete seal through Brother Hodder's time, there had to be another unrolling of the scroll after 1929-1930, in which the third part of the complete seal, Jesus' new name, would be revealed. Moreover, that unrolling of the scroll and the marking of the third part of the complete seal must begin at a specific time pointed out in prophecy, as had the first two parts of the seal. Additionally, the 144,000 could not be judged worthy of having their names retained in the book of life and their sins blotted out during the judgment for the living, and thereafter be delivered and remain alive until they are translated at Christ's second coming, unless they were sealed with the complete seal before the time when their names came up in the judgment. That which is the determining factor as to whether or not one receives any part of the seal is their acceptance or rejection of the light revealed under the unfolding of the truth for that part of the seal. In Ben Roden's study, Revival and Reformation, 430-Year Prophecy, Branch Lesson 2 and 3, he points out that even though Luther began a certain type of reformation in his own life around 1501, he was still very much a loyal papist for well over a decade after that time, and had no thoughts of protesting against the church during that time. In that study, Ben Roden gives the details of the Reformation from history and the spirit of prophecy as follows. 1501. At the age of 18, he entered the University of Erfurt, and it's recorded in GC 121, paragraph 4. While one day examining the books in the library of the university, Luther discovered a Latin Bible. Such a book he had never before seen. Now the deep conviction of his condition as a sinner took hold upon him as never before. GC 122, paragraph 2. 1505. An earnest desire to be free from sin and to find peace with God led him at last to enter a cloister and devote himself to a monastic life. GC 122-123. He sought by his own works to obtain pardon and peace, but with all his efforts his burdened soul found no relief. He was at last driven to the verge of despair. GC 123, paragraph 1. 1507. Luther was ordained a priest. GC 124, paragraph 1. Funkenwagnall's Luther. Luther was still a true son of the papal church and had no thought that he would ever be anything else. GC 124, paragraph 2. 1512. Luther received the degree of Doctor of Divinity at the University of Wittenberg. GC 125, paragraph 2, and Funkenwagnall's Luther. During the next 4 years, Luther engaged in a severe mental struggle, seeking peace of mind and conscience. Funkenwagnall's Encyclopedia under Luther. 1517. In 1517, the Dominican monk Johann Tetzel arrived in Wittenberg and began preaching the sale of indulgences for the rebuilding of St. Peter's Church at Rome. Ibid. Luther opposes Tetzel's indulgence sales, posts a paper containing 95 theses against the sale of indulgences on the door of Wittenberg Chapel. GC 129, paragraph 2. Many of Luther's congregation buy Tetzel's indulgences. Luther refuses them absolution. They demanded their money back. Filled with rage, Tetzel declared he had orders from the Pope to burn all opposers. GC 128, paragraph 3, and 129, 0. Luther still a papist of the straightest sort. GC 128, paragraph 3. 1518. Only a year had passed since the reformer posted his thesis on the Castle Church. Luther was as yet but partially converted from the errors of Romanism. Luther was still a supporter of the Roman Church and had no thought that he would ever separate from her communion. GC 139, paragraph 1 and 2, branch lesson number 3. 3. Interesting. Take a look at that. Take care.